Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to Entrepreneur Middle East, where we're back with episode 5. And with me is a very extremely special guest today. It's Dani Afiouni. He's the founder of Longevity Hub, and it's such an absolute pleasure having you here with us today. I'm so excited for this interview.
Me too. I mean, we can go on for hours.
I swear.
We've
I
had a
swear.
small talk this morning pre-interview, but we can go on for hours
We
on.
can put bits and pieces on camera, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
And the rest, I think we're just going to have a lot more conversations in the future. But thank you so much. Honestly, it's
exactly.
such an honor meeting you.
Good to meet you. Thank you.
So, I've read a bit about you. I've stalked your profile, run marathons on every continent, raised the North Pole, climbed 5 of the world's 7 summits. Already, that's a lot. So, please kick off your journey for me. Where did all this begin for you, and how are you managing? Honestly, like, who are you?
So, 15 years and Arctic exploration and climbing and doing kind of survival races, but you don't it doesn't hit you in terms of why you're doing it back then. But when you reflect on all that journey, I've realized that I did it because I was looking for answers. And so back then in 2010, I wasn't in a good place in my life. I was looking for a lot of answers. And right at the moment where I was going to start resenting myself, I said, okay, let me look for a platform for self-discovery. So I started doing charity work. Charity work led me to climbing. Climbing led me to survival races, led me to exploration, to Arctic exploration. And then, it became kind of an addiction where I realized that you're not climbing a summit to stand on the summit, but it's actually
The process and the
this is
mental.
this is the summit that you're trying to
Of course.
conquer,
Of course.
and you learn so much about yourself. And eventually, it led me to the passion that is longevity today.
Right. And
Yeah.
what were you doing before? Were you in the corporate world? Were you
I was in the corporate world
okay?
very much, and I was kind of living two lives.
Mm-hmm.
My corporate journey, my corporate being an executive in the corporate
Mm-hmm.
world, but also escaping the corporate world. Every year, I would go on a month expedition um, to any of the mountains, right,
Mm-hmm.
or to any of the challenges. And then one thing led to the other. I started researching a lot about things that I thought were impossible to do, like running 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days, right? So imagine a full marathon every day, but also traveling from one continent to the other. And so I started getting addicted to things like I I thought I would never be able to achieve, but
Mm-hmm.
every time you achieve something and you break a barrier,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of graduate to that next level and say, okay, how can I take it to the next level? How can I be more fearless on my thoughts and my
Mm-hmm.
body? And so, you know, 15 years later, you realize that it's a beautiful journey that kind of saved my life.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And do you think an average person doesn't use his or hers body's full potential?
100%. 100%.
Why do you think that is?
I learned it. I got experience learning it. And I call it perspective today. So I'll give you an example. Um, I never thought that I would be able to run a marathon in minus 40 degrees centigrade. And I was terrified training for it, right?
How did you train for it?
Well, well, I started
Ski Dubai,
Ski
Mall of
Dubai.
Emirates.
You're absolutely right.
What?
Actually,
Are
we
you
got we
serious?
got approval from Ski Dubai to sleep inside Ski Dubai.
With the penguins?
So with the penguins, I mean, we. So I used to sleep. I used to camp inside the Ski Dubai. I used to
No
subject
way.
myself to sub-zero temperatures, and I used to do my long distance running. But you never realize that your body is capable of doing this until your mind steps in,
So we
right?
are our mind, right?
So we are our mind. And I mean, if I were to describe to you how I was recovering on the flights between those marathons, it it seemed impossible, right? But when the mind steps in, you always have the physiologically you follow, because there's always an untapped source of energy inside
Mm-hmm.
you. There's
Mm-hmm.
always an untapped mechanical genius to the body
Mm-hmm.
that actually reacts to what the mind says.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got accustomed to breaking myself in different ways. Like when I ran the survival race in the Amazon, 250 kilometers of pure, brutal Amazon, you know, jungle, self-supported. I had all my
As in,
food
like, you
on.
have to kill to eat?
No, as in you have the food for 5 days on your back,
Oh
and you
God.
have to run every day between 40 to 50 kilometers. And it's mixed trails. So sometimes you're in a swamp, sometimes you're crossing rivers, sometimes you're climbing in the jungle base. And so you find yourself in these situations and you realize that it increases your mental capacity. And then when it increases your mental capacity, your body follows. So you graduate from one level to the other and you become fearless and fearless and fearless, and it gives you so much perspective until you realize that you not only become so strong physically, but you're kind of um, you're increasing your level of consciousness with these things, because you're always on your own. You're always reflecting on life,
Right.
and so you become really close to your intuition. And so this is the real value that it gives.
And you're aware of your thoughts
Us.
and your
Yeah.
feelings. I feel like our life is just so fast paced that we don't have time to sit and reflect. And that's the most important thing. I think everybody should have a couple of hours of reflection every single day, whether it's morning or you're manifesting, whether it's night before you fall asleep, right?
So that's the one thing that actually led me to why we're sitting today,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, because I spent so much time on the mountains reflecting on what it is that I wanted from life, who I am, and what I want to do. Actually, it led me to longevity. It
Mm-hmm.
led me to the founding of longevity in 2019, right? And then I came up with something called the climber's bag analogy. And I always used to say,
You
the
just
first
love your
time,
climber's bag, don't you?
100%, right? So the first time I went on a climb, I had so much in my backpack, and 90% of those things I never used. And
Okay.
so every time I started going on an advanced expedition, I started realizing that I can optimize my bag and remove the things that I'm not going to use. And metaphorically, the more I went to the mountains, the more I realized that that applies in real life when you come back to Dubai. And so your climber's bag is your mind, right?
Okay.
Imagine how many things you
We're clotting.
100%. So imagine how many things you put in your mind, whether it's the anxieties or the self-inflicted thoughts that have no role in
No
your daily
meaning.
life,
Yeah.
no meaning.
No point.
And it was exactly like the climber's bag. And I realized, so if you measure my last expedition versus my first expedition, and you measure my bag, literally, I would have 10% on my last expedition versus my first expedition. And throughout that journey, I realized that this is what my mind was having. So then I trained my mind to be able to empty itself
Mm-hmm.
from all of that excess baggage. And this is where we realize that it drives you further to what you want to be as a human being, and it filters out the noise and
Mm-hmm.
focuses on the signals,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And for me, it's all about signals now. Yeah.
But how did you make yourself take that first step? I feel like that's the hardest thing for everyone, you know? Thinking about, oh, I have to go to the gym, I have to start going to the gym, I have to start losing weight. There's a lot of people that cannot make that first step. What made you make that first step? Like, is there a certain click that just happened in your head, or did you read something? Like, what was that moment that made you start it?
So I come from a family of doers, right? So I got inspired by a father who was an Air Force pilot, and if
The Maverick.
the Maverick, um, and so he was a doer, and I come from kind of a seed that was planted in me to that was waiting to explode.
The
And
adrenaline addiction
the
was
adrenaline
there in your
addiction, right?
DNA.
And so when you live in a house that has so many stories, you kind of want to say, I don't want to sit on the sidelines. I want to actually, you know, create and co-create my own story.
Mm-hmm.
So then my only vehicle to that was extreme sports. So I said,
Okay.
that's it. I have to have, you know, an entry into extreme sports. And I didn't know that it would be the start of the journey. I just realized that I'm just going to throw myself in this situation and see what happens.
I'm just gonna jump off a plane, it's
I started doing that, and then I had my first semi accident, which is what they call a cutaway in skydiving, which means your first parachute fails, and then you have to go through the drill of opening the second parachute, right?
my next question was, did you have any life-threatening situations and all
Well,
these
three
events?
times, three times. I mean,
Oh
and
Lord.
so when that life event happens, you get an immense load of perspective to life, and this is where you say
Like the importance of it, you mean? Or like
the importance of it, the fact that you can be so fearless on your own body and your own thoughts, and that drives even more curiosity. And so it builds, it becomes a
of course,
never
you don't go from
ending
0
journey.
to 100 out of nowhere. Like it's
Yeah,
steps that you're
you're
taking.
always curious about the next big thing that's going to give you that epiphany, right? And when I had my first cutaway, the biggest perspective to me was that when I landed, I just ran to my dive master and I said, listen, I just had I almost died and I had a cutaway. So he looked at me and he's like, where's the parachute? I told him I saw it drift away somewhere. He said this is like a day, this is like Monday over here, right? It's like going to the office. It's like any other business day.
Oh my
So
God.
stop thinking that you almost died, because this is what we do here, this is what you signed up for. Go get your parachute, come back and get on the next flight. So here I am thinking that
You didn't want to, right?
I didn't want to, but here I am thinking that I almost died, right? And he's thinking, pick yourself up and get on the next flight. And I did. And that was kind of the immediate graduation into the next phase from a perspective, from that
And
perspective.
that second dive, I suppose, was totally
Normal.
fine, right?
Normal.
So you didn't allow yourself to basically have that fear. You've
No, I
conquered the
normalized it.
fear like one
Yeah,
minute later.
I normalized it. And then I realized it's perspective. Everything is how you think about, how you're thinking about it, how
Mhm.
how it's how it's impacting you, and so it kind of started a chain reaction of different perspectives, a collection of
Incredible.
beautiful
Incredible.
epiphanies. Yeah. So take 15 years of that, 15 years of reflecting, and longevity was born
Mhm.
basically throughout these 15
And
years.
I was about to ask that now. I feel like we got a touch of your life and who you are, more or less. I know it's just probably 1% of everything that you've been through, but we've got the basics. Let's talk about longevity now.
Yeah.
So, I suppose all these core values that, all these lessons that you've learned, all these experiences, memories, etc., they form longevity. And it's basically your baby.
Longevity was the genesis of longevity, had been in the making during my mountain trips between, I would say the critical timings were between 2016 and 2019. Because throughout these 3 years, I had been investing in technology for me personally, right? So beyond my training, um, that's the geek side of me, I would research a lot of technology that would prepare me mentally and physically.
Mhm.
And this is where you start to meet um, technology providers who are founders. This is where you start to meet scientists. This is where you start to meet people who are a breed of achievers that actually understand what you're doing and they help you on your journey. So, long story
You
short,
attract them.
you attract them, really. And that's how I attracted the quantum. We're going to talk about the quantum, but
dot, dot, dot.
exactly. And so I started investing in hypoxic systems. I started investing in hydrogen based systems. I started investing in um, cold water therapy systems. And what I realized was
before it became a trend.
Before it became a trend. And what I realized was I had that insane amount of energy and and you know an indestructible feeling, both mentally and physically. And so one thing led to the
Fight me, I'm
other.
ready.
So much, by the way. And so, when you do so many ice baths, when you actually train in low oxygen environments, you feel indestructible. And then you go to the mountain where the environment makes you weak, but you're actually
It's
so
normal for
strong.
you. Yeah.
It's normal, so strong. I started realizing that there's something there. And after I had tested a collection of technologies, I realized that it was becoming a way of life, a culture of well-being. And so in 2019, 2018, sorry, after I climbed Antarctica, it was also a very intense situation on the mountain. We had a couple of issues with the expedition.
Of course you did.
You always have no expedition goes uneventfully, right?
Yeah.
I just came back from Chile, and I don't know what happened. I said, "That's it. There's something there, and I'm willing to lose money proving it." Which is the worst case scenario. You always put the worst case scenario on the mountain. You always prepare. You always put the worst case scenario, and you execute the plan, because no plan goes as planned. And so you're prepared. And so I said, I'm going to liquidate all my stock options at my corporate job.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I interviewed once an Air Force pilot, and he literally said the same thing. He's like, we have this thing that we say on our missions, which is the plan is useless, but planning is essential.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have something I always say: do the hard work before you go on the mountain, because the mountain is going to make you do the hard work in a condensed version of reality. So you have all of these months to prepare. And what I do is I put myself in different simulations, different iterations. And so I applied that on my business thinking, and I said, listen, I'm going to liquidate all my stock options at my corporate job, and I'm going to launch this. And and I was people a lot of people laughed when I was introducing the concept of what I wanted to do, right? And why it's called longevity sports, and what is longevity sports. And mind you, when a founder goes through the genesis of things, it's very different than what the business model is 5 years later. And so my idea was to have a recovery business that makes people strong inside out. Little did I know that this actually works on people who are not athletes, because a lot of people have real life issues. A lot of people
They
have
don't even know
anxieties.
about like
And all of these modalities and all of these protocols, they actually help people deal with their daily lives. If you're a single mom who has a very heavy job, this is going to regulate your stress. This is going to allow you to have some breathing time in your life. It's going to basically control your own emotions and make you feel better and make you even more productive. So I started realizing throughout the years that these modalities actually help people with real life issues, because athletes and people who do expeditions and explorers, they're maybe less than 1% breed of people. But I realized that I had created something, I had stumbled upon something that was helping the 99% of people. And so I quit my job and started on the journey of longevity. Started in what I call maybe your mother and father's garage. I rented a very small warehouse.
the best thing starting garages. Like
The best thing start in warehouses and
it's yeah,
garages.
it's the garage theory.
It's the garage theory, exactly. And so that warehouse was supposed to be a storage facility for the ice bath systems. And then COVID hit. Um,
Dun, 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 dun,
exactly.
dun.
And so sadly, COVID was one of these life events that actually made us very popular, made longevity very popular, because this was the line in the sand where humanity started realizing that I need to do something preventative. I need to think about immunity. I need to think about
My overall
well-being.
well-being, yeah.
And it started that culture of well-being where people started to realize that protocols like us actually work. And so one thing became the other, and I started branching into what I call adjacencies, meaning that you find you create a business, but then you need to create the adjacent business to it and actually conquer it to be able to expand and innovate on your business
It's just
model.
like an extra puzzle piece that you need, right?
Exactly. So the docking stage was, all right, so what is an adjacent industry to ice bath, a modality to ice bath, which became infrared, which became red light, which became hydrogen, which became oxygen, which now is,
Do you do laser as well?
yeah. And so I started realizing that the more my energy was spread in the industry, the more I was meeting scientists and people who were doing a lot in cellular wellness. And if you think about it today, after all of the research, and I'm blessed with having biologists on the team and working with experts, because yes, I'm the investor. Yes, my body was a kind of
Real life experiment.
a real life experiment,
Yeah.
and my mind was a real life experiment. So basically I'm the subject matter expert when it comes to the testing phase,
Yeah.
but I'm blessed with having partners who are scientists. I'm blessed with having partners who are on the team who are biologists. So then when you synthesize all of that data repository, you realize that the root cause and the root effect of all healing happens at the cellular level.
Of course.
And so I started filtering out technologies that don't work and meeting people that actually have developed genuine technologies that work.
Where basically we bring ourselves back to the frequency they're naturally supposed to function in.
100%. And I realized that um, longevity is a culture of well being. It's basically a mode of life. And what you need to do is you need to slow condition your body and your mind to be on that journey of longevity. Because if you do fast things or you cut around corners, your body is going to serve it back to you, also very quickly. And so I started researching and investing in only protocols that help fix people from the root and beyond.
And find the cause
And
to
find
many
and
of the
find the
reasons
cause.
why something is misfunctioning. I
And
feel
find the
like
cause.
today's medicine is very much about treating consequences. You have a headache, take a pill. Why do you have a headache?
Yeah.
Are your kidneys misfunctioning?
Yeah.
Is there
And
something wrong with your circulation?
and that's such a great point, because someone was asking me the other day, what do you guys do? I said, we don't give pills, we give protocols. And so we don't have a pill for what you have. We actually take a step back, we scan, we find out where the imbalance is coming from. We find out where the issue is coming from. And then every issue has to be multidimensional, meaning that today, if an organ is functioning or vibrating at low frequency, we have to find what's blocking it.
100%.
And we have to find, the multidimensional way to be able to influence it. And that can happen through natural means. And that can happen through not only supplements that needs a protocol, because everything is interconnected. And so I started meeting a lot of scientists who understand proper anatomy, proper biology, um, uh, proper epigenetics. And this is where I directed the investment towards technology and talent that was going to take me to my objective. And my objective was, if I'm trying to have the ultimate human experience,
The ultimate human experience.
right? I mean, if you think about it,
Sounds like Superman.
it sounds like Superman, but I pondered upon this so many times on the mountain, and I said, okay, why am I here? Because you ask so many questions. Why am I here? And then the why embellishes in your
Right.
mind, and I say,
I mean, the soul did enter the body, and this is a
Exactly.
mechanism at the end of the day. Yeah.
And so in the mountains, I realized that I'm a collective of three beings, right?
Yeah.
I'm a physical being, I'm an emotional being, and
Yeah.
I'm a spiritual being.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I wouldn't be able to kind of dissect myself like
Or
that
like
before the
scientifically
mountains.
explain it, or yeah.
Right. And so during the mountains, I felt it spiritually and physically and emotionally. And then I came back when I founded Longevity, I felt it scientifically. And so I took a step back in 2023 and I said, what is it that I want from this business? Because now, if you look at Longevity, it's a place where you have all of that wellness tech and people can come do all kinds,
Yeah.
all the way from ice
We
bath
have
to hyperbaric.
AI, we have technology, digitalization everywhere. Let's invest it in medicine. Let's invest it in software. Let's invest it in technology that's going to help us heal. I completely agree with you.
And I only was able to answer the question from a business model perspective when I took a step back and I reflected on 4 years of operation.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do I want to be this facility where people can come do all of that tech? Or do I want to be a facility that plays an active life, an active role in well-being, right? Because well-being is not only an outcome, but also well-being is about education. Well-being is about actionable insights.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took a step back after 4 years of operation where we had this facility where people can come do recovery. And I said, what is it that needs to happen? And then I consolidated the vision and I said, if I don't invest in um, technology that's going to answer key questions for people,
Why?
why? Um, might as well just be a passive recovery business.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Which is
it
what
all goes
everybody
back,
else does.
which is, yeah. And the objective was my journey in the mountains and my journey with technology gave me a peaceful mind and a strong body. And so I started saying, my objective is to give people that. And so it's a peaceful mind and a strong body, right? And the way to do that, to achieve that is to combine what I call ancient wisdom, which is talent, with new age technology, which is
Mm-hmm.
technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And AI. And so
Because
this
in
is,
ancient times, we were so much more connected, right, to nature, to all the influences around us.
yeah,
So that's why,
yeah, consciousness.
yeah.
And so that's kind of what guided where longevity was um, back in 2019,
Yeah.
and what longevity is today, and basically where we're going, right? That
And that's where
constant
you
journey.
entered quantum, basically.
Yes, I entered quantum around a year and a half ago, because I was looking for technology that can explain root causes, and I didn't want anything invasive. And so I don't know if it was serendipitous or not, but I realized that energy that I was seeking got me close to, uh, you know, my partner today on a business level, who is not only a beautiful human being, but who's also a brother to me, and we're doing a lot of wonders for people through the quantum, right?
100%.
Answering so many questions that I wouldn't have answered by sending blood reports to a
Of
laboratory.
course.
And I stumbled upon the quantum because not only in my path, but I realized that it was exactly what we needed to invest in to be able to continue on the business model and the longevity protocol.
You think it's the future?
I think it's the future. Yes, I really believe
Will
it's
it be
it's the
allowed to be the
future.
future?
I think it will be. I think
Inshallah,
it
I
will be.
really hope as
I
well.
think it will be the future because the truth is undeniable, right? And I always say
And
the
it's very scientific, by the way.
it's 100%
If people
scientific.
actually start reading about it, it's very scientific. And I actually did want to ask you, like, how difficult is it for you to explain this to people? Do you usually get extremely, negative views on this? And there's a very small percentage of people that are actually completely aligned with you. What is your tactic into making more and more people be aware that this exists, because I think there's 90% of the population that just has no clue what quantum healing is.
Correct. Look, quantum for me is two sides of a spectrum. There is the scanning side, what I call basically the download side, and there is the broadcast side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today, a lot of people ask questions because first, they haven't heard about such a technology. And second, it falls outside the norms of what they've been accustomed to. And so it's very normal to go through an education phase. And I'll give you an example. The way to showcase it is by comparing it to regular blood testing. If you today do a blood test at the same day, and you do a quantum scan, and you issue the nutrition report of the quantum scan, it's going to match, the levels that you have in a blood test.
Except in way more detail.
Deeper.
Much deeper.
Much deeper.
I think there's
right?
a very big limit to blood testing. We cannot even understand like the functioning of our organs. Take
Yes.
the digestive system.
Correct.
Until your kidneys start hurting, you don't know if there's anything wrong with your kidneys, right?
Yep.
And they're one of the most important organs in the body that we cannot live without.
So we've been able to trace migraines to kidneys because of
That's
quantum
why I
testing.
mentioned kidneys when I said the headaches. Of
So
course.
you're 100% correct. Today, some people, when we explain it to them, we explain how it works, but at the same time, we show them comparisons versus their own blood test. And when it matches, people start
They're
to
like,
understand.
"Ooh."
Yes, people start to understand the underlying science behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it allows us to kind of take the journey further, right?
You gain that trust there.
You gain that trust, and that's very important. But what's even more important is that we can not only do regression analysis from a scientific perspective, but we can correlate organs with micronutrients with hormones. And this is where the multidimensional way of looking at things becomes very interesting.
It's the beauty of who we are. I feel like God created us in this way for a reason. You know,
Yeah.
everything is interconnected in our
Yeah,
body.
so true. And this is where you start to realize that everything is interconnected even through energetic pathways.
Of course.
And so what the quantum does is it measures and it cross-tabulates, if I will, the impact of even energetic pathways
Mm-hmm.
on your physiology.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I'm studying quantum physics today as a student, but I'm also
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm also a founder and an investor. And I learn from my partners and I learn from the biologists on our team, just seeing how they synthesize outcomes with a lot of clients.
Mm-hmm.
And having scanned, I think for the past year and a half, more than 500 plus people between here and Saudi, you really start to realize that there are so many patterns in linking up different things, and you realize that everything is interconnected, right?
And I mean, we're all influenced negatively by the same food, the same environment, the same pollution, the same way of life, the same frequencies and energy, like radioactive energies that come from our phones and computer screens, etc. So for sure, I think there's patterns in every single patient. Do a lot of your patients come with an issue and an explanation and excuse of, oh, it's genetics, it's genetical? Because I feel like a lot of people that go to doctors and the doctors cannot find the answers to their causes, say, oh, it's genetical, there's nothing you can do about it. With quantum, are we capable of tapping into that genetical information? Because as I was telling you the example earlier of, let's say, high cholesterol, right? Doctors would tell you have high cholesterol, take statins.
Genetically?
Because genetically you have high cholesterol, because your parents. But what does it mean? It just means that there's a misfunctioning liver.
Yeah.
Going from great grandparents to grandparents to parents. Can quantum shift that genetical, I don't want to call it a mutation, but error, and make it something that, starts producing the enzymes that produce cholesterol, right?
Yeah. So this is part of why I'm so inspired for the future right now, being a quantum physics student, right? We're able to tell people how they methylate, meaning that today, right?
Like how they evolve.
How they evolve.
Okay.
Today, and you're absolutely right. today, some of the issues people say, oh, I can't do anything about it because it's genetics. But the quantum will inform us. And when we do methylation testing, we will know, right, what's happening. And then the journey starts after the quantum scan. Like I said, the quantum has two spectrums, two sides, right? The first spectrum is diagnostics. So we know what's happening and how people are methylating. And that gives us an immediate insight towards what's happening on an organ level, what's happening on a hormonal level, and what's happening on a micronutrient level.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's also heavy metals and toxins, right?
You just need removing and then you'll be fine. Yeah.
And then we take it to the next level, which is basically now that we have your frequency, we are able to broadcast back to you frequencies that are going to take you back to your normal performing state, which is in human beings, perfection, right? So, yes, we are able to know and we are able to put people on a track. Now, whether we put people on a peptides course or whether we put people on a supplementation course, it's all going back to the root cause and the genesis of I am impacting things on the cellular level, right? At the end of the day, when you give someone a peptide, you're actually giving that cell a signal so that it can start bioactivating something that was
swelling.
dormant. Yes. And so,
because they use it in aesthetics, from what I know. Yeah.
exactly. And so, back to your question, when people think that it's only genetics, it's actually not. We can bioactivate things to bring back,
right.
And
then future generations, it will get better, right?
Yeah. So what was like this can become like this, right? And so we can bioactivate things. Now, I'm grateful for that because I have partners where when we scan, and I have people on the team that when we scan, they actually can do regression analysis on what the root causes of things in organs are. And then if it's not supplementation, we go through the peptides course. But as an investor, I'll tell you that the beauty of this industry is that I can bioactivate on the cellular level. And if there's anything, it's about recovery really happens on the cellular level, right?
So you go to the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then back to your question, yes, a lot of people come to us and they realize that, oh, it's genetics, but they realize that within their own physiology, within, the constructs of their physiology, we can actually activate. So we've had people with intense histamine flare-ups that we've been able to work on. We've had people with skin diseases that we've been able to help a lot.
And skin diseases is usually organ issues in the digestive system, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But we have people with
the funniest thing is when they put on creams, because doctors give you creams, but you don't understand that you're putting all that back inside your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just gonna pop up somewhere else.
And sometimes we've routed it back to just low stomach acidity, right?
Literally, yeah.
And so
it's so simple to fix. It's not
Yeah.
hard at all.
Yeah.
You just need to find the root cause of it.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's simple yet so sophisticated because,
of course,
to arrive to a simple conclusion and to a simple outcome, you need like levels and levels and levels of data and levels and levels and levels of actionable insights for you to be able to come to a simple outcome. And that's what I love about the quantum, is that it gives us the signals to analyze and then draw up the the actionable insights from them.
I feel like we can talk forever.
Oh, we can talk for hours.
I think I got a signal that we have like 7 minutes left of the battery on the camera. So to close up our conversation, one more question for you. What sort of vision, future plans do you have? I did hear about a certain quantum machine coming along. If you can give us a little exclusive into the launch that's happening very soon.
So look, if there was a beautiful point in time, way more beautiful than taking the leap of faith and doing and founding longevity, it's this kind of inflection point where, and I'm reminded.
I have to take it, guys.
Yeah.
Our cover with Dani 2019, right?
So this is.
It's him.
This is really near and dear to my heart because literally when I had that when I had that interview,
Your camera's there.
oh, no, camera's here. When I had that interview, I was deep, like knee deep in creating the concept
You were
of
right about to
longevity.
step into that world. You were
I
like,
was right about to step into that world, and I didn't talk about it in this interview. I just talked about.
you were probably very confused and very anxious about it. What it
I
was
was
gonna.
terrified.
You were
I was
terrified. I can
terrified, because
imagine.
I didn't want to launch something that was gonna either not work or whatever. But
It's your body's
little,
reaction of leaving the comfort zone. Like it's
little
very
did I
normal.
know that it's a collection of fearlessness,
Yeah.
right? And so in 2019, this was the interview that basically preceded all of that.
And
So
look where we are now.
yeah, I mean, if there was a moment more beautiful than this, it would be now, because this is going to be the crown jewel of everything I've witnessed for the past really 25 years. And after so much discovery on the spiritual and physical and emotional level, it's right now we've come to a place where we're launching our own patented technology created by and with our partners, and it's gonna come in the next 3 to 4 weeks, where
Amazing.
genuinely we're not only able to scan people and give them real actionable insights, leading them to have proper power over their own well-being,
Mm-hmm.
but we will be able to design protocols, but we will also be able to incubate in our own basically technology healing frequencies on the highest level.
I'm so
Right?
excited.
So this
I
is a
can't
patent
wait.
that's going to be from Dubai to the world.
And I suppose you get a lot of governmental support in all of this.
Well, we're gonna start the roadshow.
Because I saw that His Royal Highness did mention that now they're investing into all
They
these
did.
healing institutions and alternatives a couple of weeks back. So.
They did, and this is an answer to the pure, the pure culture behind this. So we've been successful to come up with a patent that really addresses
Amazing.
the full sides of the spectrum, whether it's diagnostics or protocols or actual healing.
Amazing.
So I'm very excited for that, and
I'm
for
so
you to
excited for
witness that as
you
well.
and for all of us that are going to start our
Yeah,
path to
good days are
longevity.
coming.
Yeah, I
Good days
can't
are
wait. One last question for you. It's a game trivia that I do at the end of all my interviews. You got to pick a card and answer the question.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to take too long to answer. Just the first thing that comes to your mind. If you could just read the question before.
Yeah. So what's your personal founder mantra? It's something that I've learned. It's two things, actually.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the climber's bag analogy that I was telling you about, which is empty your mind from things you can't control
The
and
baggage
focus.
jam.
And that leads me to the next mantra, which is focus on the signals and filter out the noise. Because for me, what I've learned is that I will never substitute long-term happiness for short-term pleasures. And so that's my compass all the time. So it's a web of interconnected mantras.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Dani, I can't explain to you how incredibly happy I am to have met you today.
That was intimidating, by the way.
Really?
Because I always get these, and I'm like, okay, I get put on the spot.
On the spot?
But
No.
this is a beautiful. It's really neat.
I was
I love it.
100% certain that you're gonna pick the card that you will attract
Yeah.
and have the
Yeah.
best answer to. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have
And
any.
this talks to the tune a lot of what I'm going through right now as founder.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. No, we cannot wait to see what the future holds for you and for all of us, and to basically promote this
You'll be
new
there.
way of life. I
You're
can't
gonna be
wait.
there.
I really can't wait. Thank you so much for this
Yeah.
interview. It was such a pleasure.
My
And
pleasure.
I wish you the best of luck. And potentially we're gonna have another cover coming soon.
Let's do it.
100%. Thank you,
Yeah.
Dani.
Thank you.
Pleasure.